Oh, yep. Oh. Oh, easy. I thought I'd minimised it. That's brilliant. I didn't mean for him to be there, but never mind. Hello, everybody. Not many bodies, seen more bodies, hopefully. I have no idea how many bodies there are because this has decided not to tell me. It's elected not to bother. Welcome to the stream. It's a bit of a bonus. Yeah, it is bonus. Because I'm really enjoying making this mod at the moment. So if I'm going to mod anyway, I might as well stream it. Anus. Yeah, so I thought, why not? Let's just get rid of him for a second. Quite a bit's changed for those that were watching yesterday. Phantom, welcome to the stream. Skin Ripper, welcome to the stream. Have no fear, just go grab a beer. I imagine we'll catch people off guard on this one, really. Shotgun Seat, welcome to the stream. Your number 2 type B, welcome to the stream. So yesterday at the end of trying to, oh, anus, wonderful. Yes, it looks like an elephant. Anyway, yesterday I had asked for permission to use a particular resource from an author who has since granted that permission. However, SimSim helped me find I'm not sure I would describe it as a better resource, but all round a more a resource that gives me more options and ideas and depth. So this is the GWAR that I'm going to be using, which is by Mihail. As many will know, has made loads of cool creature mods. So Mihail GWAR mod. Let's search for that. This where I'm getting it from. I haven't checked credits, but usually they're quite open. Yeah, you can use it. Asset use is allowed. Open source community. If you follow the rules below, you can use effects channel mod. As long as you put a link to the mod page in mod, it's automatically create a link, blah blah. In respect to the immersion of players, my main philosophy alongside the idea of making all not allowed to drastically Change the law. Yes, that you're using this means you're not allowed to create completely different laws for a creature I release. That's weird. I haven't read that. Change its nature, species name, attacks, animations, basic loot, mods cause emerging conflicts between themselves. That's weird. Pick a Wampa assets and call it a weregoat. Why do people have such weird things sometimes? It's really odd. I give permission to use, modify my file, includes and release bug fixes, improving the features. My files add to the game, upload it. Separate file if it's just that and not an authorial mod of yours, please put the original mod required as yours. Oh god, I never realised he had all this. Jesus. If you do... Not allowed to sell mods, that's fine. Not allowed to upload mod sites besides Nexus, that's fine. Exceptions Bethesda.net allow ports of Xbox. Assets made of Skyrim exclusive for reasons. Despite my being exclusive assets can be used in Skyrim mod hosts outside Nexus. Ports made legendary. Ports of my mods are not allowed, but you can do your own. For the same reason said above, release merge patch of my stuff. Alright. Don't allow creatures to be added to mixed creature pack mods. Don't allow creatures to be added to mods that add creatures to the game and completely non-flawed. Yeah, I can kind of get some of the lore-friendly stuff, but if it doesn't affect you, you know. Don't support translations of the mod. Okay, well, we match all of those requirements. No problem whatsoever. Interesting though, really interesting, the whole I don't want my stuff used in non-lore. I mean, yeah, that's weird. But anyway, we're using this basically. We will be introducing it in a lore-friendly way. I prefer my mods to be pretty lore-friendly anyway. And basically this is the mod that we're going to use. These are the guars that we're going to use. Now, what I've had to do quite a bit more than this. I've looked at these in diff scope and whatnot, and pause the music for a sec. I've looked at these in diff scope and whatnot, and they haven't been done in the greatest way in terms of how they're packaged up, which is fine because when I started, I used to do things in this weird way, but. What I'm referring to is the mod has been. I'll sort of show you. Probably easier to show it than it is to explain. But if I load Mihail, right. So when you do textures and whatnot, in this instance, this guy has its own custom texture. So obviously you have the texture in your own mod folder, textures, Mihail, monsters and animals, Deathhound, Guar, however you want to do it. But then what you've got is he's got a mount version, which is brilliant, so you can actually hop on and ride the beast. This has been made using mostly vanilla textures, but also some sort of meshing together of other textures, which is a very smart way of doing it. They're a bit janky to look at, the textures, but when they're actually on the creature, nothing wrong with them. They look fantastic. When you do your own textures, obviously texture mods won't overwrite that. Which, depending on the texture, is not a problem. This uses... So in terms of where it uses vanilla textures, technically it's not. It's actually using copies of vanilla textures, and I can kind of see where and why it's been done. In some instances, the torch is exactly as I torch would be. The texture is exactly the same, but he's got a duplicate of the textures, so he's repackaging up vanilla textures in the mod. That makes no sense. So I've changed mine. I've gone through, I've edited the mesh, I've made some improvements. And I've directed it wherever it's using vanilla textures, I've directed to vanilla textures. Now, in some cases, he's using vanilla textures, but he's using edited ones color-wise. So he's tweaked the color, which is good. because it makes this look a bit better. A bright satchel wouldn't really work on here. A darker satchel makes sense. However, you don't always have to edit the texture directly. And as soon as you take something like a satchel texture and you copy it and make your own version, anyone that's got a mod that it ups the resolution and makes satchels look better, they might look completely different, that won't work with your mod. Because it's a completely new separate texture. So there is a way that you can change the color and you don't have to actually have your own texture. So the way you do it, and depending on the color that it is, if it's a relatively neutral color, which in this case with most of these where this is the case, it is a neutral color, like a bright sort of creamy white sort of thing. So all you do is you basically go into BS Lighting Shader Property, you go into Shader Flag 2 and you add vertex colors. And then once you've done that, you go into the nitri shape data, you make sure that has vertex color is yes, you refresh it so it lists all the vertex colors, and then you can pretty much just change the color from here. So I'm not actually going to keep this. This is just wildly, well, wild. But once you set that up, as you sort of mess with the vertex colors, you'll see the color changes, and you can change it that way. Now, obviously, again, like I say, it needs to be a relatively neutral color so that the changes don't look off, and you've got to do it very subtle and not so drastic as I have. So you do it with a bit of white and only a hint of color just to slightly tweak the tint on it. But basically, he's done a combination of re-uploading textures that are base game that you could just direct to, which is probably just an error of, you know, not knowing that that's a thing. And then the other thing, of course, is just not utilizing vertex colors instead of including text and stuff. Now, technically, it all still works perfectly fine, still looks relatively good. But the two downfalls is, number one, is you're including a hell of a lot more files than you need to, so it's bigger and it's more to load. And then number two is the fact that any retexture mods won't be able to retexture your vanilla used textures. So I've gone through and I've changed that, and as you can see, these bastards, especially the let's come off this, a couple of things turn off, especially the pack version, which is amazing, by the way. Look at this, god, it looks like it's going to collapse and die with all the stuff. But this, as you can imagine, was a tedious task, and I went through it all, and I did it in a way that I ended up breaking the rigging of the mesh, and I had to redo it again. So I've gone through all these twice today, but I have managed to basically get them all pointing. I mean, this is his, so I'm going to show you this one, then I'm going to show you what mine is. It looks mostly the same, if not a little bit better, just because the way I've done the UV mapping and stuff. But if we go into my pet Guar and then Guar body parts and pack, a little bit brighter in places. It's directing to vanilla textures, so rather than directing to all of these copies, it's directing and using vanilla textures, which means he doesn't need to have loads of textures and all that stuff coupled with it. So that's what I've been doing. Basically all I managed to do today is find a good Guar resource, and it is amazing. I couldn't do this. I couldn't put this stuff together, seriously. And tweaked it and improved it, made it work better. So like the rope is no longer a custom rope texture. It's from the game. It's actually from Hearthfire. And then the UV map has been edited. So I've had to go through, edit the UV map, size it down, spin it round, get it scaled right, make sure it links up nice. And I've done it for all of them and tested the guys in game, and they work like a bloody charm. And then all you've got to do is the other thing. The other thing here is that he's got a mesh for every single one, which is fine. Again, none of this is necessarily, you know, wrong to a point that it's broken and it's not good. These fucking amazing. This is perfect. But it's just, it's not as efficient as it could be. So you got a mesh for all of them. Now, what I've done is I've made it so you'll just change the core mesh using a texture set and tweaked a couple of settings on the mesh to make it so that all we've got to do is have a mesh for the standard Guar bareback, a mesh for the mounted version that you can hop on, a mesh for the pack version, and the fact that he's included a lantern and that it's freaking animated as well. It's carried that over. You'll see it's got a slight glow to it, a pulse to it. I've made a version that has no lantern. So what you'll be able to do is talk to your Guar and you'll be able to take the lantern on and off it. And then when the lantern's attached to him, he'll have a light accompanying him. Hopefully. That's sort of what I've got to see if we can figure out get working. It should be possible. Shouldn't be too hard. So there's then a packed version with and without the lantern. And then there's the base skeleton for it, which basically controls all the animation, the rigging, all that jazz. So what we end up with is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 meshes. And then you'll just use the various textures, which I haven't yet bundled together, but I've got a few here. We've just got only a few textures for the body and some textures for the custom saddle that's like pieced together textures from the vanilla game, very clever, with the normals generated, and something custom for the way that the urns have been done. And we've ended up with a very, very small mod, and then using texture sets, you can texture set over the different styles, and the way that you add the additional parts on, so whether it's a saddle, whether it's all the pack stuff, the crap or nothing, you do it via outfits. So you go into here, what you do is you make armor pieces that are basically set to him specifically, and what you end up with, if it ever loads, if you go in inventory, you can do the preview, and what you got the blank one, and then you can use scripts and functions within the dialogue to essentially just go mount. It's missing a backlighting map. That's what I sort of fudged off. I'll ignore that. I'll see if I can fix that. And then you've got the pack one. So you basically just get him to equip what you want him to have. So you'll just set outfit. It's a simple line of code to change how he looks. Now, interestingly, looks ever so different there because one's probably got the backlighting. But I've got to do some other final tweaks, but for now that's sort of how it works. So many thanks go to Mihail. So I actually got the rights to the other Guar mod. So let me show you the other Guar resource for Skyrim. I actually did get the rights to this, and the textures for this are better. The general look of it is probably better. It's a little longer. The tail goes out and wags around. It's model-wise probably better, but you can also see that it's very much custom in regards to text and everything, so there's a lot more there. And there's not one, the reason that I haven't gone with this one is the fact that there isn't one with loads of crap on the back, and that is not something I'm capable of. This looks amazing, but it also looks less vanilla. So this guy fits in more vanilla-wise, and he also has more options that I can play with and do cooler things with. So that's why I went with that one. I'm way happier with this. So that was sort of the idea. Let me catch up with chat. Fuck me, people have appeared. Wilberger, welcome to the stream. Any news on the latest release? Which one? My Pet Boar? Welcome to the stream, Grey Wolf. Wathon. Welcome to the stream. Alcenor, welcome to the stream. So, yeah. Basically, yeah, this is what we're going for. And then, yeah, so you can see I've just got like a retextured one with the texture set over the top. So that was moaning about backlighting, which is kind of how I bullshitted the fact that they go purple when you use texture sets. I thought, well, I don't need a backlight, I'll just get rid of it. And it worked, but it turns out you might need it. I don't know. It's this thing here. There is it's that. You don't see anything happen, but you do in the game. And when you add backlighting, they tend to go a bit purple if they're whitish coloured, which is strange. And I don't know how that can be fixed. So I'll probably need to figure that out. But for now, it's fine. I'm going to leave it. And the other thing that I did after the stream yesterday, I carried on modding because I was really into it, is I managed to clear out all the old crap because we were using different resources before, different assets. I've cleared all the old crap out. I've chopped out all the old scripts, all the old stuff, most of it. There's one bit left I've got to change and get rid of, and I haven't touched it for a good reason. But most of it is cleared out, so we can continue with where we sort of want to go from. We can now continue and set a lot of this up. So what we're really going to need is a central kind of script that governs all of these functions, and that is going to go on here. So I'm going to go ahead and add a new script. I'm going to carry on the music, and we're going to make up a new script. And my bloody headset turned off because it's a big turd. Right, let's have a look. So MPG, and this would be a dialogue controller. Now I am going to open up the old script to get an idea of sort of what I'm looking at here. So we've got dialogue control. I'm going to dump that over there. I've got saddle, remove saddle. Not worried about saddle stuff at the moment. And we are going to look for MPG, and we're going to look for the old one. So this is dialogue. This is kind of what we want to have over here, but not quite the same anymore. So I'm going to import game. I'm going to import utility, because we're definitely going to need both of those. So instead of going game dot utility dot, you just import it once, and then it doesn't have to keep re-getting it. It's just more efficient that way. And then we have our various functions. So end function, and then we'll do follow, and then you do like an object reference that you can fill in on each dialogue for the particular GUI. So I'm just wondering how much of this I actually still am going to keep mostly the same, but this will be the same. This will be kept, and then we'll drop down a bit. GUI follow will do this, GUI follow will do that. Right, that's all cool. So GUI follow, remove faction, dismissed, wait, follow, add to faction. Right, so yeah, most of this is the same. I'm just going to copy it over. It's easier to make a new script than to mess with another one. We do need to change what these are called. So we need to know. Oh, hello Blender, how'd you do? I didn't want new. I didn't want that. Go away Blender. Bye Blender. Right, let me see what I've called my factions, because everything's been renamed and jigged around. Character faction, so it's GUI. Alright, so it's just the stuff removed. So does that make sense? MPG GUI faction? Yeah, that's fine. So we'll do dismissed and waiting and following, and we'll do that for each of them. And then we'll basically retake these. I'm gonna try and avoid having tooltips everywhere, because it's just fucking time consuming. I'm sick and tired of it. I know it works, so I don't need them in this case. Why is that moaning? Oi is idiot. I didn't even see it. I was looking at it like, what is going on? There we go. CK crashing, not responding endlessly. Could be anything. Was it ever working, or has it just not worked from day one? Depends which one as well. Don't use Firefox, so I couldn't say. Welcome to stream Eduardo, welcome to stream Annie, welcome to stream Punk. Set favors. You know what? Most of this is already in place how it needs to be. Following add form. I got the feeling we're mostly going to just copy this script across and update the new sort of changes to it in all the names, which is boring. But it'll sort of get it working. I'll double check it, make sure it all works. It's interesting. We'll also be adding to this. Wow, I'm surprised how much... here we go, there's the differences. I'm surprised how much of this is what it is. Notification, go up, follower, get name. Oh, I don't know why that is piston. Oh, it doesn't import. Debug. Right, don't need the spell bollocks anymore. Yeah, this is all working pretty much the same because it is mostly the same. It just did the same stuff but on a different thing, but now it's doing it on the right thing, which makes sense to me, so it's all good. So let's update it. Let's just run through and update it. Alright, we just don't need this bollocks at the end anymore. We don't need any of that. So we got like follow, wait, dismiss, all that. All this was just dragged over from my pet. No, it wasn't dragged over. Was it dragged over from my pet ball? I don't think I did my pet ball like this. I think I did my pet ball differently, and then this stuff must have come across from Cat's Life. So this stuff's like Cat's Life stuff, this is. Yeah, it's just updating this. There's literally like no point reinventing the wheel really anyway. Pet marker, we don't have pet marker. It's not good. Let's do pet marker then. Where's our pet marker? What's pet marker? It's that apparently. Ah, player ref. Don't have player ref. Should be all we need then, at least for now. Nah, don't use Brave. Stop using Brave. I forget why. There was a reason for it. Oh, I know why I stopped using Brave. They did not implement the sync functionality to sync across all of my Chrome on different devices and everything. Don't like it. Not happy with it. Didn't sync bookmarks and all that stuff, so got rid of it. They said they were planning on doing it, but I gave them enough time. They didn't implement it. So, and all, yeah, ad blocker. I just use the old ad blocker extension. I like their ad blocker, but I needed syncing for my bookmarks, and they didn't have it. And also, their as good as their block thing is, it would very frequently interfere with certain sites that you wouldn't think to check it, and things wouldn't work right, and then you'd be going around in circles half an hour until you realise it was fucking Brave fucking around with a website like Wix or something. A feature of Wix wouldn't work because it was messing with it. Wow. I'm going to leave feed. I am going to have a function for feed, but I'm going to leave it for now. I'm going to leave this one blank because this is going to completely change most likely. Anim. Send animation idle and then anim time and then start. What is that for? What's that for? I don't know what that's for. I'm going to leave that there. Back to Chrome. Went back to Chrome. They're going to be working on the RAM usage for Chrome too, which is one of its main issues. Yeah, went full on back into the Google ecosystem. Let's see then. So, what we need to do is script renamer. I don't like this. I don't like it. This needs changing. We need to re-add a script namer. So we're going to go mpg renamer. And we're going to open that one up. Open our new blank one up. I'm going to shift all this across. Fobbledy bobbledy boo. Shit. We do not have what we need in here to compile, I would suspect. Yeah, it should be in there. Let me see what error it throws. See if I need to re-download. Thought I said breasts of Skyrim, but it says beasts. I don't actually need all this crap anymore. It's all in there. Ah, it's had it now. Maybe something was missing. Best order in which to build the house? Not sure how you mean in terms of order and meshes and textures. I mean, everyone builds stuff different ways. I mean, I do the exterior first and then try and match the interior to it. Or, I mean, you can go the other way. Depending, I just make sure I've got the parts I need to make the outside match as best. And then decide on a sort of architectural design and just do the basics. You know, do the walls, the floors, all that, and then put extra bits in, then do the furniture. This needs changing. MPG renamer object, MPG renamer object. We need to change the renamer to have a new script, or it's not going to pick it up and it's not going to pull from it. Ooh, this gets confusing. Nuts and crackers and cheese. I didn't mean to do that. we go. It's kept it anyway. Right, so that one. This is interesting. Misc object there. Yeah. Form. Not a variable. Okay. Got it. Because I was naming two things. That's fine. Both those filled in. Dialogue stuff's going to tie in. That one's linked, and then I've got one on the player thing. What I would do when you're building something is I would make sure you know what your theme is. Make sure you know what your area is, what architecture you're going to use. So if you're sitting in Windhelm, are you going to use Windhelm architecture? If you're going to bring over something like farmhouse, is it in an area that matches up, it makes sense? And then if you do want to use different objects from different architectures, do they fit in? Some people aren't going to give a shit whether they fit or not, and it'll look amazing regardless. But if you want to have things fit in the game and make sense, then you want to use as many vanilla textures that you can, and don't go overkill on retexturing other architectural meshes unless they look right. So with architecture, if you've got like a very plain shaped object, then changing the texture on that to something else can match it up and it won't look out of place. If you've got something that is very much a certain style of architecture due to its shape, and its shape is its defining feature, then just retexturing it to another architecture isn't going to entirely get rid of that look. So you couldn't take something that's very standout like a Winterhold college piece and turn it into farmhouse. It just would not look right at all. Depends on the type of build and the type of architecture. If what makes it look like a certain architecture type is its shape, then it's a no. If what makes it look like an architecture type is simply just the texture, then you can change the texture. So a perfect example would be a very flat table top, like I've done with Cranty Tower recently. I'm probably not going to be able to find it because busy. But something like this If you just had the flat top of that, you would get away with it because it's such a basic shape that retexturing this to something else would definitely work. But if you keep the legs on there, that's blatantly shaped out to look like Snow Elf architecture. So retexturing it might look cool, but it might not be quite right. If you're looking to do an alternate sort of style of texturing with it, using the same textures, by all means go for it. Then it's going to look right. It's going to look good. But wherever you can, try not to go wild. What you can get caught up in as well is when you're changing the look of something and then you want everything to match. Just making everything exact same type of wood and matching everything up isn't necessarily going to give you a good look. Everything will match and it'll go together, and it looks like it goes together mostly as long as the shapes aren't too different. But you know, you've got to have contrast with things. You've got to make things contrast and complement each other nicely. Everything doesn't have to match. You don't have to have all exact same type of wood. You don't have to make your furniture stone if they're in a stone building, and vice versa. The stone building doesn't have to have wood on it if you've got wooden furniture inside. A mistake that I made in a redesign for Corinthia Tower was that I was starting to put wood all up on the walls because it was looking right. It was matching the furniture. It's like, no, you're supposed to have that contrast of wooden furniture placed in an old stone building. Hopefully that makes sense. That's kind of the direction that I go. Like I say, though, some people don't give a shit. They will put all different mashed architectures together. Perfect example I've got is where somebody basically took the Windhelm wall and used it as an exterior wall for Winterhold and said, now Winterhold's protected and it looks good and makes sense. It makes sense in terms of a protective wall to make it more like a protected city, but when you walk up to the wall and you realise, well, it's the Windhelm wall and it's got all of the dead soldiers from Windhelm Wars in it, all on it. So immediately you've destroyed the lore. It doesn't make sense. Also, some of the Windhelm walls are so unique, and they're what makes Windhelm look like Windhelm, that just dumping it in another city looks fucking ridiculous. But again, it comes down to personal taste. Some people don't care for that. If some people don't care about lore and they've played the game like 100 fucking times, then they don't care how something looks as long as it's different and unique. It really comes down to what you're trying to aim for. It's, you know, do you want things to go together nicely and contrast well? Do you want to break the law, or do you want to stick with it? You know, are you going for something outlandish? If you do mesh together different architectures, can you explain it in some lore books or through custom dialogue? That's something you could do. I may have some alien artifacts that lie around inside of a Dwemer style but not quite tower for Corinthia Tower, but it's explained in the sense that the dwarves helped build it, but the aliens gave the ability to power it in the way that it is. So those two sort of came together and meshed, and you can kind of explain it, you know? So it's like you've got an old farmhouse, but it's built on top of Imperial Ruin. What the fuck? And it's like, well, that's because the Imperial Ruin got knocked down, then they had to rebuild something in its place, but they were very poor people, so they had to build a farm. So that's why you've got that merge of two architectures. You make it make sense. You can always do that. And it's also, don't get carried away. If you figure out how to do something, it's like, oh my god, I can make my mesh glow. I'm going to make everything glow. The fucking dog's going to glow. The door's going to glow. My face is going to glow. The floor's going to glow. The ceiling's going to glow. Everything's going to glow. And I've done that. I've made that mistake. And then I look at it after and I'm like, I really went a bit glowing nuts. I'm like, it's about getting the right things to glow. The things that make sense. You overdo something, it loses its charm. So it's been very careful when you figure something out, or you know, something looks good on something. It's like, maybe it should only look good on that one thing or one or two other things. Maybe it shouldn't be plastered everywhere. Oh, I really like this dog shit texture. It looks really good on that box over there. I'm going to put dog shit on everything now. Oh, it's like, not necessarily a good idea. Bit of a silly example, but you get my drift. It's like making sure that things go together. It's good just to take a step back, look at an object and go, what logically makes sense for that? Would it look bad if I did this with it? And even try it and sort of see. Using a shack kit, just planned on changing the walls to look like it, throwing and match the floor while matching it with the rest of vanilla texture. I've done changing walls and stuff as well of like a shack. I did it with Riverside Shack. I don't know if I kept it in the end. I don't actually remember if I kept the big changes. I think they may have been reversed in the end. One day it will load. And it will be a glorious day. Today is that day. Right, there we go. It's loaded. I don't remember if I kept it. I think it's actually got a different texture on it than what it starts with. I think it does. But it's still blended. Yeah, it's just being very careful with things. You know? You can make something look mostly vanilla, but have a little hint of something different. Only you'll be able to make the decision, really. You can get feedback from people. My Discord's a good place to go. And people will be like, you know, yeah, that floor goes nice or whatnot. Entirely up to you. I personally know when something's right. I get that feeling where it's like, now that is right. And then I've learned to be able to take a step back and realise when I've done a boo-boo. Done something silly. Quest alias. This is where I was going. Need to go into here. And this is the other script to change. I think there's 3 scripts that come together to do the rename stuff. Of which I cannot take credit for. It was my partner. Smart little cheesecake that she is. Managed to string all this together to work. And now I just use it everywhere. MPG, rename, updater. That's all that. Diddly 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 dee. And that doesn't have anything to fill. Now, I think we're all up to date in terms of things string together how they need to be. So, what we can do now is progress in life. And we can do the things that we need to. What's the line of dialogue that I need? There's a specific sort of dialogue snippet that I use, and I never remember what it is. It's oh, sugar nuts. I think I overwrote them all. Hang on. Let's go. If in doubt, just completely rip off one of your other mods. Let's go in here. Yo, here's what I needed to do, but I don't. Oh, Shay, I don't want that. No, that's not what I want. No. I want to look at a cat's life. That's the one that's done it well. Nice track. I want to cry. This, get owning quest. That's what I want to do. Get owning quest.follow using AK speaker as owning quest as dialogue controller, testicles, big danglies. It's not what it was. It's whatever I name the script. What is it? Dialogue controller. MPG. Dialogue controller. MPG. Are you? French onion face. I missed a letter. Dialogue. Who? No. Dialogue. Dialogue. Dialogugo. Daiga. Gugawa. Can I not just spell dialogue? There we go. Jesus Christ. That took way too many attempts to type dialogue. It's going into bloody Star Wars language. Dagger's going to be static, like shows containers, invisible markers trick. Static stuff should be used if there's something that definitely doesn't need to move. It shouldn't be used on general clutter. I mean, it's my opinion. Eleonora always used to use loads of static clutter. When we made Mershcum... Hello there. Lemons Isaac. Well, thank you for the follow-up on the stream. When me and Eleonora made Mershcum Estate together, she was all into static clutter and got me into static clutter, and everything was static. You could like do first row dar, nothing would move. It's good to keep the look of the house, but it's very bad to keep it in line with vanilla. If you want to stay in line with vanilla, stuff that should be able to move should be able to move. So if you Fusro dar the dinner table, everything should fly off it and a fork should fly into the eye of your youngest child. That's what's supposed to happen. Stuff's meant to go everywhere and be set to respawn. You should definitely have things set that way, I think. Static stuff, if you've got like containers, display cases that you put stuff in and then a static version of it appears, that's cool, definitely, yeah, use that because you want display stuff to remain in there. But when it comes to like general clutter, I leave it as, you know, it can fly everywhere. In terms of, do you break the boundaries of the vanilla game? If you were looking to upload onto console, you should probably try and stick to the similar kind of item restrictions that Skyrim use. Otherwise the Xbox will heat up and explode and kill everyone within a 5-mile radius. If you are just uploading on PC, then do what you want. Although I tend to try and stick under the memory limit that you will see in the object window when you load a cell. I sneezed. So yeah. You can go a little more than what's cluttered in the vanilla game as long as you optimize it with portals and occlusion planes in the walls and everything. It's things that Bethesda don't go mad on everywhere, but if they did, could have probably pulled a bit of extra performance. But there's a lot of tricks like that. I've got videos on my channel. They're not brilliant, they're old, but you know. Rename the script to MPG. What have I been calling the others? What have I been calling the others? MPB script D. Labards! Thank you for the Could you pause? We're trying to listen to the shuffle.
Skyrim shuffle. If you can't do a Skyrim shuffle, I can teach you. Here's a tissue for your pants, cause you're wet. For your pants, cause you're wet. For your pants.
I shouldn't do that. Could be children watching. Thank you very much for the tip. Greatly appreciated. What do I do with that tissue now? I'm going to have to leave it till later. Okay. When I blow my nose, that's why I have tissues nearby, because I sneeze a lot. I literally just sneezed. You witnessed that. I'm not joking. I get a lot of bogies up here, and I have to regularly clean them out. Hang on. Ah, I've gone live. Thank you for letting me know an hour late. Fantastic. I don't know why you're letting me know that I've gone live anyway. I'm the sod that's gone live. Right. Oh, yoink yoink. Pablo Javier Veloz Chandier. I probably just butchered that completely and I made it sound French even though it's probably most likely not French. But welcome to the stream. Obey Andre, welcome to the stream. Ferran missed, welcome to the stream. Anybody else that I've missed, welcome to the stream. Try and say somebody's name, put a fucking French twist on it. Je suis, madame. I don't know what that means. Anyway. MPG, follow me. MPGD? MPGD, follow. That's what we'll do. We'll call it MPGD, follow. Why not? Why the hell not? So that's what we're going to rename that as. Got it compiled, and it's just going to call up follow, and it's going to set to AK speaker, which should do the job. An error. Why would there have been an error? Right, that's follow, and then we just call all of these sons of bitches. So it'll do all the wait stuff. Oh, hang on a minute. What have we actually done here? What have we actually done? Because this way now gets very interesting. We're not assigning to aliases. We are not. No. That's probably not what we want to do. We want to do it like we do it in another mod, because it's better. We would like to do something slightly different. Derber. This is interesting. This is interesting. Bob and welcome to the stream. This is interesting how we can do this. My Pet board does it better. It assigns them to aliases that gives them different packages and lets them do different things and have different outfits, whatever. This is gonna be interesting. Doodly doodly do. There is something that I did to check to see if something is filled in a mod. What the hell was that? It was in the latest mod of them all. It's in Com. Join clan. Was it in that one? Kind of no. Dialogue. Oh my god. Oh my fucking brain. This is going to be interesting. We are going to do a system where we've got options. Big options. We got to make a decision because basically I would need an alias for the different dudes. So, how many guars in the world are we going to have? That is going to be based on the textures for the guars. Which means... if we look at the ones, how they are, that's a normal one, that's an albino, I like that. This stripy son of a bitch is also Interesting. We could do something. I don't know. See, I like Stripey Man. This is a problem. We're gonna like all these guys, aren't we? Well, you only need one stripy fella. So, a lot of these are stripy fellas. He's not different enough to give a shit about. He's spotty, and spotty's just no. He's different enough that he might be cool. He's not different enough. He's fucking awesome. Oh god, this is a problem. Oh, this is a big problem. He's stripy. Alright, so we got Mr. Awesome. We got Mr. Stripey. We got a Mr. Awesome and a Mr. Stripey. And we've got, I just ripped the head off a camel and I'm up for more. I don't like him. He's more wild, if anything. He's got blood all around his mouth and everything. Yeah. Don't need him. I would say that's 2 additional types. I would say we have a maximum of 4 of these fellas. Meaning what we're going to want to do, what we got to do, we need to basically check if slots are free. This is a combination of about 3 different mods being combined into a different setup. So what we are going to do is use references for the thingy things. That means that what we want to do is have a big fat combination. Can I split this into 3? No. We want a combination of these things. So we are going to need not 3 slots. They're going to be different. But what we're going to do, we're going to go blah, 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 blah. That. That's what we're going to do. What's this? Forced to ref, new recruit. New recruit, forced to ref. That's interesting. Forced to ref. What? What? Do. Wada. Wob. That's interesting. Because it's doing force. Ref 2, force. Force ref 2. So forth. Right, cool. Do not need this. That's what we don't need. And then what we're going to do is Gua slot 1. Ugh. Gotta put a 0 in front. Don't know what that's about. Gua slot 02. Gua slot 03. And we're even going to go and have a Gua slot number 4. Sneaky. So let's have a Gua slot number 4. And then what you've got to do is have all these slots as sausages. Interesting. Where's 3 slots stated? Wow. My brain. When you're stating what they are. Okay, so that is equal to unrecruited thingy. Okay, so Gua slot 1, 2, 3, 4, and then what you'll have is you'll have references for each of them. So the references for each is basically reference alias property, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Okie dokie. So it's going to be pet Gua 1, 2, 3, and 4. That's what we're going to do. God damn. Right, and then what we do is we'll basically just do... And then... Oh, shite. Pet Gua 1... 1, 2, 3, and 4. And what you do is you line them suckers up. Like this is what slot 1, 2, 3, 4 is. And then you do your whole string of if statements. And instead of that, it's go slot 0, 1, go slot 0, 2, and then go slot 0, 4. And so you do 1, you do 2, you do 3, you do 1, 2, 3. And then you do petgua 1, petgua 2, petgua 3. Petgua 1, 2, 3. I will try my best to explain this shortly. To not new recruit, but dude man. This is going to become an actor, gua follower. So I have gua speaker. And then that'll be gua 4. Right, I'll explain what this does shortly. That's what we do. So blah, blah, blah. Right, so we're going to do the whole, that's how you're assigning his bloody thing here. And you're clearing the right one. So you prick. Ooh, really annoying when you've got all this other shit in here that nobody cares about. Let's get rid of it. Let's get rid of all this shit. Right, so function. I don't know. Is there any point? Is there any point? There's probably not. Probably not. What do you do? Force ref tool, force ref tool. That's kind of making sense. And then you just clear the others. So that's how you do like the assigning, and then you do the whole setting the teammate of the dude man person. Instead of bore. Clear. What are we clearing? Ball weight. Preferencing. The alias is what if only one can wait at any given time? What if you could own multiple, but you can only ever have one with you? That would make sense. That would make very much so sense, meaning that this thing would be needed elsewhere. Making all this very interesting. Ooh. Okay. Ah, fuck off. Why is it doing that? Don't do that. Function sign gua. I'm just going to do that for now, and I'm going to clear this stuff. I may or may not need this string of madness. I don't need like the clearing and stuff. This is very interesting. Why is it pissed at that? Why is it pissed at that? Oh, okay. Blah, blah, blah. Gua speaker. Someone need AK speaker of object reference. Object reference. What is object reference? Okay. Well, I'm actually sort of like backtracking, but I need to put something together that I might need. Gua. Whoa, can't type. Gua follower ref. And then this stuff can go. Okay. Sod it. So what we do is, you basically... Whoops. You do a clearing on all that stuff. These remain sort of the same. So you got all the guars. And then you got reference aliases. So I'm 2, whatever. Boar follower, guar follower. Okay. Guar follower, guar waiting, guar... Guar dismissed is a no. Guar dismissed is different. That's very, very different. That's going to be there for a reason. So if he's following, you want to clear the weight, and you Ball home clear. Ooh, very interesting. Ball weight, blah blah blah. Guar weight. So follow guar weight dot clear guar weight, guar waiting. So guar waiting. So you clear the waiting guar. Following must be following. Following must be. Must be if he's waiting. Follow me. Yeah, you'd have to have nobody. Yeah, that's fine. Right, so guar waiting, and then basically what you're doing is follow and then dismiss. So there's nothing dismiss. That's fine. Okay, so clear waiting, and then the follow falls for F2, and then follow falls for F2. So AK speaker, instead of AK speaker. It's guar follower dot force to ref, and then AK speaker set teammate. So it's not AK speaker set teammate. It's guar follower ref set as teammate. But then you're actually going to need the sort of similar as actor dude man. So if you do guar. So actor guar follow. So what is actor guar follow as reference? So actor guar dismiss. Actor guar dismiss is actor guar follow a ref as an actor. So actor guar dismiss is that as an actor. Why does guar balls not work? Two are incompatible. That's interesting. So that's more like the AK speaker. It's more like the alias itself. It's the alias that we're doing stuff with. If I can do like the guar follower, the guar follower in an alias. Okay, speaker. Okay, speaker is actor. AK speaker. Is that as an actor? So that's similar setup. So it would be Guarbles. So I don't want Guarbles. What I want here is I got my alias, which is my pet Guar, and then what I want is my I need to split those up. I need my Guar. This is really fucking confusing. I really need my. So I've got my Guar follower and my Guar waiting. And then I've got a Guar follower reference. So that's object reference. That makes sense. And then. Yeah, these are really confusing. So I'm going to do Ali for alias. And then I'm going to do Guar follower instead of Guarballs. As that as an actor. Because we've got an actor, an alias, and an object reference to perform the different tasks that we need to perform on them. And then what we've got is game.add spell, which is interesting. It's adding a spell for tracking each individual thing. So I'm going to put that as a thing for maybe later, because I'd have to decide on how that works. And then what we'd do is we would have debug.notification, which gets very interesting, which is following. So AK speaker instead of AK speaker here. This is really, really interesting. Anything else where we'd use AK speaker? So in this case, teammate, it's that. That instead is following us. And then what we do is we have a sound effect play. So MPG grunt01.play on player ref. So we've got a player ref and we've got our form lists here, which is very interesting. So we've got our follow set up there. And then what I want to do is look at my boar, my other boar script. So it gets a bit nuts. Thank you for the follow, James Braswell. Welcome to the stream channel. What the f is going on? Ronald, welcome to the stream channel. Thank you for the follow or subscription. Subscription for both of those. Let's. MD script, MPG. MPG. And now what I need. This is the thing. It's really confusing because I'm like pulling scripts from 3 different mods and combining them into something. So dismissal is probably what we're looking for next. Assign Guar, yeah, dismiss. Okay, so if I'm looking to dismiss, then dismissing something is taking anything that's following or waiting. So what we need to do is basically take this and put this under dismiss. And we'll just like drag in whatever else we feel we need. So instead of Guar follower, it'll be Guar dismiss. And I've got to choose whether it's dismiss or dismissed. So it's dismissed is what it's going to be, but it's going to be dismissed. So Guar dismissed and then Guar dismissed ref. I don't like dismissed, I like dismiss. So if that's what we're going to go for, we're going to go dismiss, and then we're also going to change dismissed to dismissed. So it's just going to be dismiss and dismiss ref. Actor Guar dismiss. And then Guar waiting. So We've got an alias there that we're looking to clear. So interestingly, it's totally off. Really interesting. What are we looking here? So what we want to do is the follow and the wait. So gua follow ing. I like follow. And then what I want is a grunt sound. Gua dismiss, ref. Gua dismiss, ref. So I'm going to do my ref. And then I'm going to do my gua follow alley clear. And then my gua wait alley. So gua wait alley dot clear. So we're going to clear those aliases, and then we're going to have the instead of set as a dismissed gua. And then instead of gua follower, it's gua dismiss. And then gua dismiss.getBase object is heading home. Teammate setting is very interesting, because that should then be set to false. It seems that should be doing more. Potential problem with my pet boar. Yeah, let's do that. So what we've got is we've got wait and dismiss, well, follow and dismiss all in gear, and then if we shuffle wait down out of the way, then what we can now do is look at wait under MPB. So we're getting a good combination of these together now with wait and whatnot. So what I want to do again, and now I want to take dismiss, I want to change this to, instead of waiting ref, I want to do this as wait ref, gua wait ref, and then gua wait ref, gua dismiss, gua wait. And then what we'll do is we'll have the follow clear. So gua follow alley clear, and then we'll do wait is then going to be forced. So the other thing that you get when you're waiting, well, you're telling it to wait. So if it's following, you're clearing follow. So it does 1, 2, then 3. Okay, and then what we'll do is we'll set up the forced reference. Because that's what we've got up here, and that's the alias. So I'm going to do follow and wait, and it's clearing wait. Should be clearing follow and then setting wait. So that should be gua wait alias. So gua wait alias to gua follow ref, but not that, but wait to gua wait ref, and then set gua wait. And then gua wait again, and then gua wait again. No spell to be added there, but there is a... Dismiss needs to remove spell. And then follow needs to add spell. It needs to remove spell, it needs to add spell. And you've got to get a grunt on the end of each of these. So we've got the grunt as well. And then we've got debug dot Guar dismiss Guar wait. So we set up the teammate stuff again, I'm guessing. We don't actually do any of that, I don't think. So we're just basically setting it up to wait. So notification will wait here. Guar wait set thing up will wait here. And then you basically remove... you'd set waiting for player. And where you would usually put that is after the forcing of the reference. So if we do guar wait.set waiting for player, and we then shift a lot of this out the way. We don't need any of that anymore. Marking home is a very interesting one. This is where it gets very, very bitchy. Mostly the same, actually. That should be the same. Mark home for my pet boar. I'd like to check. Mark home. That does he move to? Mark home is... Oh, okay. So mark home. Follow, dismiss, and wait. Set AV is not a function, does not exist. Yeah, it's full of shit. Right, so follow mark. Wait. Wait is very interesting. Wait. This is going to run through different things to get the pet markers. Why is, well, that's not doing it. It doesn't need to do it. That runs through to get the marker, and what it basically does is move the marker, shows a notification. Notification being the guar pet. So guar pet ref. No alias is being used there. The actual thing is being used. That's fine. And then the grunt dot play. So what we don't have is a grunt playing. And that's perfectly fine. Mark home is all good. The other things that we then have, if we can check the creation kit, and this is all very interesting. So I actually want to go ahead and just really quickly do this for wait and confirm that. I just want to save anything that we've got there. I really need to know what dialogue option we got here. So we've got follow, wait, dismiss, mark home, and we've done those. We haven't got pet yet. Open inventory is an interesting one, and then there's renaming. Renaming should be its own thing, I think. Custom folders for you, no, face gen data tends to need to stay where it is. I don't think that can go in a custom folder. Add audio effects. Not sure, to be honest, Frosty. Don't go ever did one on that. Open inventory. Open inventory is basically getting the reference thing, opening its inventory. That should work. Feeding is a different story now. Feeding for this is on here. I think it's just basically the speaker open their inventory, has form, then it's set value. Food form. Ah, okay. Right, we can do, instead of AK speaker, we'll do an object reference, which is going to be guar inventory ref, and then you'll do very much a similar thing here, guar feed ref. And you'll do guar feed, and you'll do it based on a form. So MPG form food general. Then we're gonna wipe. Oh, shit. Wipe these suckers out. We don't need these. I want all this right out of my way so I know what I'm doing. Sign, dismiss, all that good stuff. And then what you do, I believe this bit that I've got up here that I'm now going to drag out the way, I think that would go into the dialogue of the guy that you would buy the guars from. That's where that goes, and then it decides where you assign them to. Interesting, really. That means that is really... Because we got these sort of set references, it shouldn't really be a problem. I don't think I'll need this. But I'll keep it down there just in case I end up needing it at all. And then we've got open and we've got feed. And we can sort of just, again, we're going to double check. What the fuck? Where? Where's that gone? Why is it hiding? So change name, not a problem. That should be done. We've got... Combat is on there already. I'm just going to double check. I'm just going through and seeing if we got all like most of the main features sort of implemented back in from My Pet Ball. No, we don't have combat on there. So what I'll do is I'll search combat and put MPG combat block on. Don't believe it has to. Oh, it does have to point at something, but then I've got a marker in there to say, yo, got to add this on. And then I've got guar number 2, and I'm going to end up having 4 guars by looks of it of different types, and I can go more if I want, which I probably now will if I'm not going to have the sort of restriction I thought I was going to have. Combat block on that one. So we've got food check is very interesting. Food check is something that we're going to have to add, so I'm going to go on here and I'm going to go I'll try, and I'm going to add my food check. So right, I definitely want these guys to be able to fart as well, because otherwise, what's the point in any of this? So, heal isn't really needed. Inventory is kind of in there. Marcom is in there. Remove saddle and all that jazz is also going to be a thing. So, rename, blah, 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 blah. Remove saddle, ride, and saddle up. Remove saddle, ride, saddle up. Teleport, not interested right now. Test dialogues, fine, unsaddle, and wait. Right. So what we've got in here so far is looking very interesting. So what you've got to now have are the aliases that have been put in here. Hey, that's all gone, done, bye-bye. Now what we need is the pet guar people. We need the aliases for guar following alias and guar waiting alias. So, let's see. Let's make a new reference. And this is going to be new reference alias. That basically, optional so it doesn't crash when it's not filled, because it won't be filled by default. And then we will call it guar wait alias. And that is mostly it there for now. And then we'll make another reference, which is Gwar follow alley. We're not going to have one for dismissed yet. So Gwar, follow alley and optional. And that is going to be a specific empty reference, I believe. Yeah. And you'll fill the reference. And we've got player ref up there. That's good. Alright, yeah, that's fine. And what we want on here is... Oh. Saddle up. Saddle up basically does you a different reference, I do believe. Nope, that is saddle up as in put a saddle on him. That is not the right type of saddle up. The one that we want is saddle and unsaddle. So it's not saddle up, it's saddle. Or is it ride? Ride sets to an alias. So we're also going to want a riding alias that includes a keyword. So we're going to want Gwar ride alley as another alias that we need. So Gwar ride alley, and that will be optional and specific reference with a keyword of horse, actor type horse, and then yeah, then what we'll do is just confirm and save that. And what else do we have and need? So unsaddle, that basically changes out the outfit and whatnot and just clears out the alias, maybe? Disables and re-enables them when you unsaddle, saddle up. Just ride. How does it no longer ride then? Remove saddle, clears the alias, and summon clear. Very interesting. A summoning alias. I like it. One that you fill to be the dude person that needs to be beamed over to you. Very clever. Very clever indeed. I don't know if I ever used it though. Let's do a Gwar summon alley and optional and specific, and that's fine. Then we are going to need to confirm that, and dialogues is going to do all that, and basically, oh, wrong one. It's bonkers. Scripts, autofill, and let's see what it hasn't filled. So, frustratingly, Gwar follow alley is not filled. Gwar wait alley is not filled. We do not have a form list for types of food, so I'm just going to make one. It's going to be empty for now, but that's fine. It hasn't got a grunt sound, so if you want to know, hopefully that person's still around. I don't know who it was that asked now, I've forgotten. But if you want to add in your own audio, I'm basically going to go under audio, sound descriptors. I'm going to double click on the Gwar here. Looks like I've already got something in here. So I'm going to take one that's close to what I want, which would be this one. I'm going to rename it. So this is going to be MPG Gwar Grunt. Now it's MPG Gwar Grunt, and I'm putting SD for sound descriptor, just how I like to name them. I'm just going to make a new form of it, so I've got it. I'm going to reopen it, and what I'm going to do is go right click new. I'm going to go into MP. I'm going to get the sound that I want, so it's got to be a WAV and it's got to be done in a certain way, certain format. I forget exactly what it is, just so it's not going to crash anything, break things. So if I get into my sound effects, I'm going to want, what's this? I may just want like a boar sort of sound. but I don't know where that is. Might be under bristleback. Can't hear it because my audio's off. Ah, see, this is where it gets really annoying and really confusing. Because I'm clearly using something custom, which is a fucking problem. Yeah, I just want a standard grunt. I need to go and find out what that standard grunt is that I'm using. So the way that I'm going to do that is hope that I've got my pet boar in here. Yes. And then I'm going to go to tools and I'm going to... this is really not the best time for like teaching of things because it's all over the shop. Like the streams, sometimes you'll learn some shit, but it's not very well put together and easy to understand, I'm afraid. Just because I'm doing stuff as well. Sound descriptor. And under here I'm looking for grunt. And I want to know what I was pointing at. So this is what I was pointing at. I don't I don't know if that's going to take. Apparently it has. So I've basically selected my sound. It would be a custom sound in this case. There's no conditions on it. That will be idle look, interestingly, for a grunt. I'll confirm that. Then I'll need a sound marker for it that I can reference in my script. So I'm going to do right click new and I'm going to search under the one that I just made, which is Gwar Grunt. I'm going to call it MPG Gwar Grunt 01, just like we did in the script. And then I'm going to go ahead and autofill. It's autofilled the sound, Bob's your uncle. Really, really simple. Pet Gwar 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to leave for now because I might not need it, but that fills that stuff in. And what we want now is these guys are currently set up to have the keyword for riding, but I don't want them to have that off the bat. So I'm going to delete the actor type horse from both of my Gwars, and what I want to do is, as quickly as I can, implement what we need in here for riding. So pet, rename, open, feed. Rename should technically be in there already, but it's named incorrectly. So currently it's script renamer equals, oh, here is what we need to do. So script renamer. That's what I'm going to kind of want. I'm going to comment these out so it doesn't cause any errors, and then renamer.rename. And then it's going to be MPG ref Gwar 01. That's a really shit way of doing this. So I want to actually look at the rename script for my pet, my pet boar. And what I want is actually just a simpler setup. This is very interesting because this is totally fucking wrong. Not what I'm after. I'm after the dialogue part of it all. Rename an object, rename that. Rename. Where is rename? Where the fuck is rename used? So if I look in here, I've got a dialogue topic for name. Rename topic. What the fuck is it using? I don't see a script being used. Did we put a rename section in the larger arcing thing? No. I think it's just going to be inside of it. It's really confusing. How does it shout that out? How does it start the process? I'm going to leave renaming. Then I'm going to rename this to be MPGD rename. Just so we've got what we want there, and then compile that, and then confirm and go back in. Just that renames in there, because that's not really what we're focusing on getting done right now. We would like to do the saddling up, I think. Vish from the stream. I'm making a Guar mod.